So, what can pain teach us? Pain is something that, of course, we all feel and experience, but there are different levels of pain, and I'd like to talk about some of the levels that we don't talk about. The mental, the intellectual, the spiritual, the pains that are more complex, because we are complex beings who can experience many different levels of pain. When it comes to the first level I want to talk about the mental pain. We put ourselves into complicated situations on a regular basis. We put ourselves into situations that we did not intend. If I wanted to get to know somebody and I end up offending them because I make a joke that is insensitive to them being vegetarian, if I wasn't vegetarian or even if I am, then, or like if I just said, oh, why don't you just be a man and eat a steak, something like that, and that wasn't my intention, I was just trying to be funny, then that can bring the mental pain of not having the successful conversation with the person that I'm conversing with that I wanted to happen because I like this person. I'll give it another example. Another form of mental pain is if there's a misunderstanding between people. If me and another misunderstands what our motivations are, they might think that I am more aggressive in the political spectrum, that I believe that war is something that we use to deter and that we should increase the military funding, even though I don't believe that. And they think that I do. And then I think that they think the same thing because of a misunderstanding in sentences. I could say something like, oh yeah, war is necessary sometimes. And they might think, oh, well, that's his first option. And then there's this conflict. There's this unintended conflict that brings the mental pain of not really understanding each other, and a lack of understanding is pain to a certain degree, a certain magnitude, and a pain of not being able to have a relationship with that person. Like I wanted to not be able to continue it in the same way, and for there to be a little speed bump. But these are kind of everyday examples I'm giving. If I was going to go to another form of pain, intellectual pain, not being able to understand an aspect of my own religion, not being able to understand exactly maybe what Krishna consciousness is, or exactly what Dharma is, or maybe I don't understand that karma can last for more than one lifetime, and I get very confused as to how somebody is punished or rewarded after one lifetime if karma doesn't last for more than one lifetime. But that would be a misunderstanding. That's intellectual incompatibility between ideas, and that would be a lack on my part. That's why it's very good to try and clear up with your intellectual understanding of everything you believe, and try to understand as much as you can of what other people believe. Otherwise, you're going to be in this intellectually confused state where you don't know how to hash out what you truly believe or what others believe, and you don't really know how to make sense of it. That doesn't mean you have to agree with what somebody believes, just trying to understand them. That can bring intellectual ease in society, in relationships, with the understanding in your mind, and with your future development as a person intellectually. I'll give another example of pain, a more complex version of pain, spiritual pain. Now, spiritual pain, I mentioned not being able to understand certain ideas within a religion, but spiritual pain is more about not valuing yourself. If you don't value yourself, if you think that you're lesser than everyone else, or you don't truly see the point of life itself, and you start to feel like everything is pointless, and these two, a lot of the time, they go hand in hand. If you don't value yourself, you don't really see the point in anything. Now, this is spiritual pain, in my opinion. Spiritual pain is a feeling that you don't know what is real, or where you belong, or what your purpose is, and what the purpose of anything is. And that's really the spiritual pain that a lot of people feel at some point in their life, and even most of the time to some, at least small magnitude, throughout their life. And it's a confusion that has to do with not the intellectual understanding, but the identity, your personal identity, your ability to figure out who you are in relation to the universe. Now, there's another thing that pain can teach us, and we're going on to another subject. Those were examples in the first subject, that we are complex beings that can feel many different kinds of pain, namely mental, intellectual, and spiritual. But the next subject as far as pain goes that I want to move to is we have much to learn about ourselves. We don't truly understand um, how the world works. Nobody knows exactly how all the pieces of this world, the universe, works, unless you're a very advanced sage, I guess you could say, and that's just my opinion. But pain allows us to see that there are bad reactions for things that we did that we thought would bring good actions. It's a very karmic understanding, cause and effect. You don't have to call it karma, and we have much to learn, and the universe seems very willing to show us that we have much to learn. There seems to be a very strong order to the universe in that when we perform certain actions and they are incorrect or that they are destructive, destruction comes. If they are preserving, if they are kind, compassionate, then usually compassion and kindness comes towards us. It might take a while. There might be a long way around for all that good to come back to us. But I think that just even viewing this happening in the world, we can see how this is a truth that when we when we are young, we commit actions that we're not really sure the outcome. We're not really sure how things are going to turn out. We're not really sure if we touch this stove, if we're going to get burned, if we yell at somebody, if they're still going to like us. But as we grow, the universe shows us, okay, that you don't touch a stove and you don't yell at somebody and expect them to like you. Then you slowly start to grow as an individual. The universe itself seems to influence us in that way and urge us on towards a better understanding of ourselves and everyone else and the order of things. Now, this is a slightly different point, but it is the last point I'm going to make. Pain is like a karmic membrane between us and the universe. Now, what does that mean? And you can say, instead of karmic, if you don't believe in karma, is a cause and effect membrane between us and the universe. This is kind of something I've coined, but when we feel pain, it is the result of an interaction with the outside world, even if we're completely inverted and there is some kind of chemical imbalance in us. That chemical imbalance, it may exist by itself, but it will react in painful ways towards anything that comes towards us that we find displeasing. If somebody looks at us weird in the subway, if somebody looks at us like, well, who the hell are you? Why are you looking at me? And why are you here? If you're chemically imbalanced, if you just have that natural state of depression in you, then it'll hit you a whole lot harder than if it was just a normal person that's like, oh, that guy, he's a jerk. And even if these chemical imbalances exist within us, the pain we receive is kind of the membrane around our being, and it responds differently based on the person. It is interpreted differently based on each person, and its extremity is completely individual. But there is that membrane that kind of combines our being and the rest of the universe. And that membrane can be put through pain, pleasure. It can be put through a hardening, and I don't mean like a membrane on your skin. I'm talking a membrane on your being, on your understanding, not on your psyche, I guess you could say. If that membrane will allow you to interact with the world by showing you what causes pain, and really pain exists to basically narrow down the causes that are coming at you. It is that membrane around our being. Whether it be intellectual, emotional, mental, spiritual, that membrane of pain that can be in pain allows us to have a connection with understanding other people's pain and understanding what we shouldn't do or how to liberate ourselves from suffering. Without pain, we also wouldn't have empathy. We wouldn't have the ability to see that, oh, this hurts and all these people are going through this. Let's stop it together. This membrane around our being, this I guess you could say ephemeral membrane around our being that is really a conception, but is still very real, if that makes any sense. It allows us to be human, but also feel what it is to be human. Feel what it is to to be a part of a people, of a race, the human race, and kind of have that ability to feel the same pain, and then we start to understand each other's pain because of that. So, in conclusion, there are some things that pain can teach us. We have to truly look at what pain is. We should appreciate it when it happens, not because we want it to happen, but because it has something to teach us every time. And never be hesitant to learn from mistakes, because pain is all about learning. And learning from those mistakes will bring us closer to destroying that pain within us that we feel, or the capacity to feel in the future, by understanding certain things, allowing ourselves not to be so sensitive, and becoming a better person as a result. So thank you very much for watching. This has been a video about pain and what it can teach us. But if you have any ideas about pain in general, if I didn't cover anything that you think pain can teach us, feel free to shoot it down there in the comment section below, and hit that thumbs up if you thought this video was interesting at all. I really appreciate it. And all of y'all have a great day.